Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to talk to you today about a pair of photographs that were sent to me here just recently by an amateur researcher who asked for my analysis on something he captured here not too long ago. Now he actually sent me 3 photographs, but I'm going to just focus on these 2 here. And what you're seeing here is the original photograph he took that he thinks caught something possibly in the background here. And here is that area zoomed in. You can see right there, there's a dark area back there in the bush. Kind of looks like something kind of poking its head up. In addition to this photograph, he also sent me a comparison photograph that looks kind of like this. Now, if you zoom in into it in this one, you'll see that our head shape back there in the bush is now gone. Now, this is a very common occurrence in the amateur Bigfoot community. People go out and with cell phones or whatever camera they have, and they take a picture, and if they see something, they go back out there in the same area and take a comparison photograph. And the logic being that if the figure that was captured in the original photograph is now gone, that it was something alive, and after the person left, it got up and walked away, and now it's not there for the comparison photograph. Now, I got to go ahead and give this person credit because it's very unusual for amateur Bigfoot researchers to seek out any kind of independent analysis of their work. In fact, most people, if you even offer up an opinion of their work that is dissenting in any way, they tend to get a little bit nasty for you. So I've got to give this guy kudos for not only reaching out for somebody's opinion on his work, but also accepting the dissenting opinion. Now, I'm going to go into this a little bit more deeper here, but first of all, my process is very simple. If somebody's going to send me a photograph or a video to take a look at, I really prefer to get the raw video, one that's not been edited in any way or manipulated in any way, and that's what he did here. He sent me the JPEG right from his phone with the metadata intact, and that's very important for getting an idea of what we're looking at here. As a part of my process, not only do I look at the metadata, but I also run it through something called error level analysis, which will tell me if there's been any high-level manipulation of the photo, anybody trying to Photoshop a figure or anything into it. Not that I thought that he was trying to pull one over on me, but it's just something I do as a matter of habit. Now again, getting back to the original photograph, you can see back in the bush here, there looks like there's a head there, possibly some eyes, and even a nose. All right, now going back to the comparison photograph, you can see that it's gone. Or is it? Is that a real figure back there, or is this just a case of pareidolia? Well, one of the first things I looked at, like I mentioned before, is the metadata. And the metadata is very telling, especially in this case. Now, this is the metadata. It's a screenshot that he sent me that matches up to the metadata that's encoded with the pictures. So what you're seeing right here, and of course, this is all the information on the phone, the maker, what the flash is doing, and most importantly, the exposure time. That is the most important number that I'm looking at right now. If you compare this to the metadata to the companion shot, you'll see the exposure time is much higher. Now, the reason there's such a difference in exposure time is because the lighting levels in these 2 photographs are actually quite different. The phone he was using did its job, and it adjusted the exposure levels, adjusted the ISOs to make the lighting levels look pretty similar. But they are different enough to cause a problem, and that exposure time is generally what the biggest problem is. There's also some slight differences in position here, but if you look at these 2 photographs clearly, or look at these 2 photographs for a second, you can see that the original photograph over here on the left is a little bit blurry as compared to the companion photograph over on the right. And that is because of this number right here. Now, anybody who has any experience with photography will tell you that if you're going to be out shooting pictures, the very lowest shutter speed you generally want to be using is 1/60th of a second. At 1/12th of a second, the slightest motion of the camera is going to cause blur. And that is why this original photo is somewhat more blurry than the picture on the right, because of the difference in shutter times. Now, looking a little bit closer at these pictures, you can see that the parts and pieces of this face are actually there. What you look at as a nose right here is actually a knot on this branch right here. And some of this greenery you see back here is actually some of the foliage up here. This branch that's transversely going across the face here is actually part of the face. So that's the reason why this face doesn't appear in the second photograph, is mostly because of the difference in shutter speed, a little bit of motion blur, but also because there's also just a slight difference in positioning. Well, this was a really good photo for this guy to send me, and it really underscores some of the problems that we have in the Bigfoot community these days. You have a lot of people, I call it the Scott Carpenter effect, a lot of people who have been motivated by this man to go out there with their smartphone or low-end camera. They don't pay any attention to the settings or anything like that, and they go out and take pictures, and they catch things that when they go back to investigate are gone. And then, well, we have a face like this that shows up out of nowhere. So this is a good lesson for all of you wannabe amateur researchers out there. If you're going to go out into the woods with a low-grade smartphone or a low-grade camera, pay attention to the settings. All things being equal, I would rather have this number be up here to about 1/19 of a second than anything else. You can leave everything else on auto, but if you can hard stop this number to no lower than 1/60th of a second, it's going to make for better pictures. ISO being at 400 or even higher to me is not that big a deal. The higher the ISO, the grainier the picture would become. A little bit grainy is fine, but it's much better than having a kind of a blurry mess where you start to see patterns and stuff in the trees. Once again, I want to thank the photographer for sending me these pictures. I have for quite a while been looking for a way to demonstrate this type of thing, how cameras of low quality or cameras that aren't being set up properly can really fool us into seeing things that just plain aren't there. And in this case, again, we have another case of classic pareidolia being caused by the camera. So let me know what you think. Hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. Head on over to my Facebook page and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your comments. Just to let everybody know, sometime in the near future, I'm going to be doing live streaming breakdowns right here on the Try It Ever YouTube channel. So check over to my Facebook page to keep for updates on that. Thanks for watching today. Have a great day.